intensity of that bang. We just played out for you that moment that Shinzo Abe was shot. You can hear him speaking on the mic, and then immediately there's this loud bang. You can see everyone jumping suddenly from the sound, the intensity of that particular bang that you hear. And then there's smoke. So what kind of a weapon is this? It's clear it's a very high-powered firearm that was used to target Shinzo Abe. We're hearing it's a shotgun, but that's something that's yet to be confirmed by the police. So we'll hold off on that information for the moment. But that video is chilling, to say the least, because you see the sound. You can hear Mr. Abe, in fact, speaking, completely unaware of the fact that someone behind him has a weapon, approaches him, and then shoots him from behind. 2 shots to the chest is what we've heard. The locals standing around listening to Shinzo Abe literally jump out of their skin, because you can hear that sound also. We're going to keep playing that for you also, so that you can hear that bang when at that exact moment that Shinzo Abe was shot. Listen to that. Mid-sentence, Shinzo Abe speaking there at that rally, mid-sentence, he stopped short with this loud bang. And according to witnesses, there were 2 bangs. So there were 2 shots that were fired at Mr. Shinzo Abe as he was speaking. He was speaking at this rally from behind him, which is why he didn't see the attacker coming towards him or approaching him with that firearm. From behind him, he was shot at. You can see all of the people also around literally jumping as that bullet was fired at Mr. Abe. Our prayers, of course, we're hoping for the best at this point for Mr. Shinzo Abe, but obviously there'll be questions on what the security mechanism was doing there. They surrounded him, and yet from behind, this man managed to shoot the former Prime Minister of Japan. Geeta Mohan, a foreign affairs editor, is also with us. Geeta, heartbreaking really what's happened in Nara city. A country that's so peaceful hasn't seen anything like this happen before. It's unheard of for political violence, for a high-profile leader to be shot at during a rally, mid-rally. This suspect, 41-year-old Tetsuya, we're being told, approached him from behind and fired at Mr. Abe twice. What's the latest we've been able to pick up right now? Is there any update coming in on Mr. Shinzo Abe's condition?
Well, some of the wire agencies reporting from local media, including AFP, has now said that he's feared dead, but we will not be going with anything that the hospital has not announced yet. Now, what is happening over here? One, like you said, Japan has not seen gun violence. It's not America or a country where guns are bought off the shelf. It's the reason why you see this young man in his 40s holding a shotgun. Very shocking, because, you know, it is not a weapon that you can hide in a pocket and go to a campaign rally. That's how safe Japan is, where the security detail is not as immense as you see in countries like India. Even in America, former presidents are provided with a huge security detail. That's not the case here in Japan, and that's not the case in Japan, Akshita. And we've seen an attack not on a leader who confined himself to domestic politics of Japan or just to Japan. There was a point in time when Shinzo Abe was one of the most powerful men in the world, being the Prime Minister of Japan, an architect of the Quad. When all global leaders were reluctant to take on China, he had then proposed in the 90s, had proposed the idea of the Quad. And for the longest, there were only official level meetings of the Quad, because Australia, India, countries like the two were reluctant to go all the way to have meetings at head of state or head of government level. And then when he was not Prime Minister, we saw the head of state, head of government level meeting. So this is a very, very serious, shocking development, not just for Japan, but for the world, that Shinzo Abe has been attacked in Japan, a country that is known to have the least of crime rate. Now, the development over here is that Prime Minister Kishida has been apprised of the situation. He was also in a campaign rally, because the upper house goes for elections on the 10th. He's rushing back to Tokyo, and his office will be taking charge of all the developments that are coming through. Secondly, we do not really know whether Shinzo Abe's family is now at the hospital hospital where Shinzo Abe is. And they've been given complete information of what has really happened. Unless that happens, there is going to be no official announcement. According to reports that we've been going through, Akshita, we've not even seen a medical bulletin yet, only because we do not know what the state of affairs really is when it comes to Shinzo Abe's health. There are two important things that have already happened. We are given to understand that one, according to reports, that he has already suffered a major cardiopulmonary arrest, which in layman's term would be a heart attack, and that his vitals are not responding. So the situation is grim. It doesn't look good. It's a world leader who's taken a major hit, and family members of Shinzo Abe, again, not known whether they've been apprised, informed or not, although Prime Minister Kishida has been. The entire leadership in Japan was touring across the country because the upper house goes to elections on the 10th and today is the 8th. So most of them would be rushing back, but it was important for Kishida to be back in Tokyo. If there is an official announcement, it will be rather quite official given how Japan works. And again, a lot of people are talking about security lapse. Akshita, we cannot blame it on security lapse as of today because Japan never has had the kind of security detail for leaders as other countries do, because it is considered a very safe place. But that might change today, that the country would be looking at security detail, more security for leaders, should such incidents recur, and they would not want their leadership in harm's way.
You know, just to add to what you've said, Geeta, about how unheard of, how unprecedented something like this is. Japan is a country of more than 127 million people, and it sees less than 10 gun deaths a year. And there's barely anyone who even owns firearms right now. So that's the kind of culture in Japan. It's a very non-violent culture. People are known, even if they have some grouses, to hold extremely peaceful protests. So this kind of an incident happening, first there was all the speculation that perhaps it's an outsider, but it's been confirmed that this is a local who's committed this act, who's targeted the former Prime Minister, who fired at him from behind. The suspect has been taken into custody. And I think the one question everyone's asking, Geeta, is why? Why was Shinzo Abe shot at?
Well, again, that's a question that we will have to wait for an answer from the authorities, whether if the man was a part of a cult, whether if he was a part of a far-right wing group, or whether if he was, and that would be very unfortunate, if he was just mentally unstable. So, Akshita, we do not have details to that, but yes, not every decision of a leader is popular. There are decisions by Shinzo Abe that were also not very popular or unpopular, but not to the extent that any person should be picking up arms against the leadership or against the leader. And that's certainly very unfortunate. Having said that, we know that, Japan has had incidents of violence in the past, but certainly not gun violence. We've seen knife attacks, we've seen problems in Japan as well, but certainly not gun violence. So this certainly will make a huge shift in how Japan sees itself as a country which is safe or not safe, whether leaders should have more security or not. See, they do not really travel with a huge security detail, but that could very well change in the coming days. So a lot of things would change. We'll still have to wait for announcements from the hospital, from the family, and from the Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister Kishida is now apprised and has rushed back to Tokyo. It is a very unfortunate incident because Shinzo Abe is a leader who held the country together for quite a while, and the leadership that has come after him have been very close to Shinzo Abe too. So it would be a personal loss for many leaders in Japan, a personal loss for the country, but also a loss for how the global community looks at and views visionary leaders and statesmen. Shinzo Abe is certainly one of them.